that shake the heavens and darken the skies. Jesus himself said the sun would be darkened before his return. But here's what most believers miss. The darkness comes after the separation. Just like in Exodus, Israel was protected while Egypt shook. Just like Noah entered the ark before the rains came. Just like Lot left Sodom before fire fell. The righteous are always separated before the darkness descends. This is why believers today feel such urgency. Why the spiritual atmosphere feels heavy. Why the world feels off balance. These are birth pains, shadows, warnings. They are not meant to frighten the faithful. They are meant to awaken them. Whether the 3 days of darkness manifests literally or symbolically, the pattern remains. Darkness comes to the world, while light remains on the people of Jesus. The world trembles. While the bride is lifted, judgment begins. While the redeemed are already safe. The point isn't to fear the darkness. The point is to recognize what the shadows mean. And if we're seeing shadows now, it means the moment of separation is closer than we think. Part 3. The rapture as Jesus' rescue before the darkness falls. Let's step into one of the most overlooked truths in all of end-time teaching. The rapture is not the reward at the end of the race. It's the rescue before the storm. It's the intervention of Jesus at the exact second the world crosses a line heaven has marked since the beginning. And the more you understand this, the more the connection between the rapture and the coming darkness makes sense. Every major act of divine judgment in Scripture follows a pattern. The righteous are removed, the unprepared are warned, and then judgment begins. This is not a suggestion. It is the repeated rhythm of how Jesus deals with humanity. Before the flood came, Noah was lifted. Before the fire fell, Lot was escorted out. Before the angel of death passed through Egypt, Israel was covered. Before Babylon fell, the faithful were marked. And this pattern reaches its climax in the rapture. The world loves to say, if Jesus really loved us, why would he take us out? But that question misunderstands the heart of the bridegroom. Jesus doesn't take the church to escape life. He takes her because the world is about to enter a season she was never appointed to experience. Paul writes plainly, we are not appointed to wrath, not symbolically, literally. The day of the Lord, the judgments of the seals, trumpets, and bowls, these are not trials for the bride. They are consequences for a world that has rejected the light. So where does the rapture fit into all of this? Think of it this way. When darkness is about to descend, Jesus removes the light. When judgment is about to fall, Jesus removes the redeemed. When spiritual blindness reaches its peak, Jesus calls his bride home. The rapture is the separation before the darkness, the deliverance before the shaking, the removal before the unraveling. And here's the part I want you to hear in your spirit. We are already standing in the pre-dawn shadows of that darkness. Look around. This world is spiritually dimming at a speed that feels almost unnatural. Lawlessness is rising. Deception is exploding. Confusion is multiplying. The value of truth is evaporating. The restraint on evil is weakening. It feels like we're watching the last flickers of spiritual twilight. But that should not terrify you. It should stir you. Because the closer the darkness gets, the nearer the trumpet becomes. You may not feel worthy. You may not feel ready. You may feel like your life is messy, imperfect, or struggling. But listen, Noah wasn't perfect. Yet he was rescued. Lot wasn't perfect, yet he was delivered. Israel wasn't perfect, yet they were covered. Readiness is not about flawlessness. It's about alignment with Jesus. It's about keeping your heart open, your lamp burning, your faith alive. It's about living in expectation, not fear. The rapture is not a threat to the believer. It's the promise of Jesus saying, when the shadows reach their peak, I will not leave you here. I will bring you to myself, and the shadows are rising. Part 4. The world's descent into spiritual darkness. before physical darkness arrives. If you want to understand where we are on the prophetic timeline, you don't need charts, dates, or endless debates. You simply need to look at the world and compare it with Scripture, because the Bible is clear. Before physical darkness touches the earth, spiritual darkness takes over the heart of humanity. We're watching that happen in real time. Paul warned that before the day of the Lord, there would be a great falling away. Not a small drift, not a subtle shift. He uses the word apostasia, a deliberate departure from truth. And friend, that departure is happening on every level. We're living in a generation where truth is offensive, deception is celebrated, righteousness is mocked, and holiness is labeled radical. People aren't just rejecting Jesus, they're rejecting reality itself. Identity is confused. Morality is inverted. Families are collapsing. Values are dissolving. Darkness isn't creeping in anymore. It's rushing. It feels like the world is losing its spiritual eyesight. This is exactly what Scripture says. In the last days, people's hearts will grow cold, not because they are uninformed, but because lawlessness will abound. When people no longer see sin as sin, they no longer see salvation as salvation. This spiritual blindness is the shadow before the darkness. Jesus warned that deception would be the primary sign of the end. Not war, not famine, not earthquakes. Deception. And look at the world.